From Chayay Sarah, Bethel Emeth Congregation, it's time to take 10 minutes for Torah with Rabbi Finkelstein.
Welcome to our discussion of Parshat Chayay Sarah. Can we kiss the dead? Those who've experienced passing away of a loved one in near proximity may experience an urge to kiss the dead, to give one last kiss, nishikat preda, a kiss of farewell to the loved one. In fact, we find that Yosef in Parshat va-yechi does kiss his father as soon as he passes away. In our Parsha, it says, Vayakam Avraham me'al panei meto. Sarah had died, and it says that Abraham got up from the face of the dead. The Tzror Hamor, Rav Avraham Sibag, a Sephardic and Portuguese commentator who lived in North Africa, he said that he got up from the face of Sarah, meaning that he had kissed Sarah. And then he goes on to say that the rabbis say, Rabbotenu Zichronam V'Cha, Chazal, they say, Shechayav, that you have to kiss the dead. And they learned from Yosef. However, in the that same commentary, in Parshat va-yechi, he doesn't say you have to, he said tzarich, you should. Which rabbis is he quoting? Probably the Midrash Seichel Tov. In the Midrash Seichel Tov it says, muter l'nashek. It's permissible to kiss the dead. It's not an obligation. It's permissible. There is a Yushalmi, passage in the Jerusalem Talmud, in which Rabbi Yeshua kisses and fondles his rival and his friend, his chavrusa, his partner in study, Rabbi Eliezer, on his passing. So from here, sounds like you're supposed to, or you can, kiss the dead upon their death. On the contrary, it seems from the Torah that's what Yosef did. So that's what a person does. Kiss your father. It's an act of love, an act of respect. However, sometimes the Sefer Hasidim, the book of Hasidim, having nothing to do with modern Hasidim, it's a medieval work of pietists of the 10th, 11th century, Germany. And they often quote from the Tzavas Rabbi Yehuda HaChasid. And Rabbi Yehuda HaChasid, this one of these Hasidim from the Middle Ages, which is brought in the Rabbi Yerucham, a serious Provençal medieval halachic work, that you should not kiss your children. When it comes to children, should not kiss them. Why? Maybe you won't have any left. It's a very harsh statement. What does it mean? It means that just like the Talmud says, you shouldn't cry too much for the dead. There's a limit. After 7 days, 30 days, a year, the crying and tearfulness should come to an end and we should move on to life. Otherwise, you're ushering in further death, further depression, going in the wrong direction. So in that spirit, he says, don't kiss your children. If God forbid a person loses a child, son, a daughter, the mother and the father should not kiss the child. One of the commentators on the Sefer Hasidim, the commentary of the Shivim Tamarim, is quoted as saying that today you shouldn't kiss any dead, shouldn't kiss the father, the mother, because it says that Vayikra that we should not walk in the ways of the Gentiles, and because it is common among Gentiles, perhaps some Gentile circles, to kiss the dead. We don't worship God. We don't observe our life cycle ceremonies in the way they do. We keep our own ways, and therefore we should refrain from kissing any dead, not just the children. However, the Pischei Tshuva, a very important compendium of various responsim, and that's found in the book of the Code of Jewish Law in the Shulchan Aruch. He says, what do you mean? The Sefer Hasidim is only talking about children. Other people, you could kiss other dead friends, relatives. However, along the lines of that school of the Sefer Hasidim, the Rokeach, who was one of the Chasidei Ashkenaz, one of the one of the pietists from that period in Germany, he says in his comment, he's quoted in the commentary of Chumash by Rabbi Ephraim Reb Shimshon, an obscure commentator, that it's asur b'chol krovim, that you're not allowed to kiss any relatives who pass away. You look in many of the books that speak about these matters, laws of mourning, it just says you shouldn't kiss the children. But in the Kolbo, a book written about 50 years ago by a great scholar from Columbus, Ohio, a compendium of Jewish laws, he quotes the Sefer Hasidim, which speaks of children, and he says you shouldn't kiss any relatives at all. He doesn't give a source for it, but he says that. A lot of people today use the Nitei Gavriel, Rabbi Tziner, or Gavriel Tziner, and he says that he codifies the idea that shouldn't kiss any of the relatives, certainly not a child. Certainly not a child. What's the rationale? Quotes the Or HaChaim. The Or HaChaim was holy Chaim ben Attar, lived in Israel, a Moroccan rabbi, and he says that the spirit of impurity from the dead goes way up, and if you get in the way of that spirit and you kiss the dead, tipagem hanefesh hanosheket, it defiles your soul. It's not something you should do. Now everyone agrees that you shouldn't say the following. You shouldn't hold the hand of the dead and say, "Take me with you." It's a common human reflex and reaction. You see it a lot, but unfortunately, it's not the right thing to say. Who can tell a bereaved person what to say? But if one can give advice, and from a rational point of view today, an abstract sense, say no. A living person should never say to the dead, "Take me with you." A living person should go on. We believe in life. We affirm life. As beautiful as the next world is, we don't want to go there now. We want to do mitzvos, do good deeds. We want to live and breathe every breath. We want to thank God for it. Even in the time of grief, we don't want to go there. We don't want to be with them. We need to live. They need to go on. We say Kaddish so they can go on to the next world, on to heaven. Our time has not come yet. Our time is in the hands of God. There's tremendous wisdom here. On the one hand, people might say, such an insensitive thing. If a person wants to kiss their dead, let him do it. But here, there's perhaps a folk wisdom of sorts that says, no, it's the Chachmas Torah, the wisdom of the ages, the wisdom of the Torah, that says the dead need to go on to the burial and to the world to come. And the living need to go on living. Especially whom? Especially those who, God forbid, and it's a terrible tragedy, those who lose children. Because those who lose children are most prone to want to dig themselves back in the grave with the child. And the tradition says, do not go in that direction. Do not hold their hand and try to escort them to the next world. Do not kiss them. If a person feels such a need, if it's not a child, certainly a great source, many sources to rely on to kiss father as a matter of honor. We're trying to balance honor on the one hand, on the other hand, the affirmation of life and the idea that the mourner needs to stay here on earth and do what they can here as long as they can here on earth. But for a child, generally we follow the Sefer Hasidim. We don't kiss a child. I hope that no one should know such tragedy, and we should be saved and spared from such tragedy for a long time to come. This is the Chachmas HaTorah. This is the wisdom of the Torah. It has something to say about every moment, from the moment we're born till the last kiss of death. Thanks you for joining us here at the Anshe Sfar Bethel Emeth congregation for our discussion of Parshat Chayay Sarah. Join us each week for our discussion of the Parsha and the various holidays. We have how-to videos, all types of videos. Join us. Thank you for joining us. Thank you, Jason Lefkowitz, our producer. Thank you.
This has been 10 Minutes for Torah with Rabbi Joel Finkelstein. To learn more, visit ASBEE.org.